let's talk about Highland Park. Some really stunning stuff that came out around this shooting. As we alluded and mentioned to in our last show, shooter was known to law enforcement. The extent to which he was known to law enforcement is legitimately stunning. The police now coming and saying that they had 2 separate interactions with this individual, in both of which probably should have resulted in him never being able to purchase a firearm. And we'll get to the exact specifics of that, but just listen to how big of a screw up that this actually was.
April of 2019, an individual contacted Highland Park Police Department a week after learning of Mr. Crimo attempting suicide. This was a delayed report, so Highland Park still responded to the residents a week later, spoke with Crimo, spoke with Crimo's parents, and the matter was being handled by mental health professionals at that time. There was no law enforcement action to be taken. It was a mental health issue handled by those professionals. The second occurred in September of 2019. A family member reported that Crimo said he was going to kill everyone, and Crimo had a collection of knives. The police responded to his residence. The police removed 16 knives, a dagger, and a sword from Crimo's home. At that time, there was no probable cause to arrest. There were no complaints that were signed by any of the victims. The Highland Park Police Department, however, did immediately notify the Illinois State Police of the incident.
So this guy tried to commit suicide in August 2019. September 2019 says he wants to, quote, kill everyone. Now, here is where there is some real blame, not just on the police, who, by the way, there is a red flag law on the books in Illinois, and you very much would have covered for this. This is where this guy's father is... there should be some serious action taken against him. Let's put this up there on the screen, because immediately following that, here's what we learned, which is that the clear and present danger report made by the police was made in response to threats directed at the family. But the report indicates that when police went to the home and asked the individual if he felt like harming himself, he responded no. And additionally, here's the key. The father claimed the knives were his and they were being stored in his closet for safekeeping, as in his son's closet. So based on that information, they returned the knives to the father later that afternoon. So whoever this father is, he basically made it so that some of the red flag law provisions could not kick into place whenever they could have been used, and the police could have taken more action against this guy. And that basically resulted in them not only returning the knife, a sword apparently, and come out of this guy's bedroom, once again, complete free.
That's what parents do all the time, is they store their own knives in their children's closets. That's a normal thing parents do.
I know. I mean, and look, if you're the cops, like, what are you supposed to do? It's not like you can prove that the guy is lying. It's very clear that he probably was lying, but based on that information, the father very clearly was covering up for his son. And, this guy apparently was pretty well known in the community. And now it has resulted in 6 people who are dead, including 2 parents of a young, infant, a 2-year-old child who's now been orphaned. This is horrific. There's a GoFundMe. We'll put the link in the description. But the point is that this was a screw up and down the chain. August 2019, the fact that he tried to commit suicide, and the fact that the mental health professionals didn't flag him under the red flag law. And then second, whenever somebody reported and was concerned enough to say that he was going to, quote, kill everyone. And again, the police did not take the action that, at least it seems in retrospect, they should have. In some cases, their hands are tied because his father is, well, like I said, I hope at the very least he faces some wrongful death suits and others by the family members who are involved here. Just a disaster all the way up and down the chain.
Because it's not just that dad covers for him. Son says, I'm going to kill everybody. Police are called to the house, find all of these knives and weapons in his closet. Dad covers, those are actually mine. Blatantly lying, obviously. But then, when it comes time for this maniac to buy the guns that he ultimately uses to mass murder these poor innocent people at this parade, guess who backs him up on that and sponsors him for that? Because I think in Illinois, you have to, if you're under 21, you have to have somebody who's older to sort of sponsor your application. Dad is the one who shows up and makes it so that this maniac can buy these guns. Little parenting tip. If your kid has tried to commit suicide and has said he wants to kill everyone, don't help them get a gun. I mean, this is absolute insanity. And the red flag law too part is really sad, because clearly the provisions were in place that if dad or someone else in the family said, you know what, my child is having emotional issues, they're a danger to themselves or others, then instead of going and sponsoring his application to get the gun, you actually put a block in place so that he can't easily obtain that weapon. And then maybe ultimately that's the difference between this mass shooting and death unfolding and not. It really is just this person was like the most obvious mass shooter in history, and he's facilitated in obtaining the weapons that he uses to commit this carnage.
Yeah, it's terrible. I mean, yeah, like I said, again, there's going to be some serious questions that remain to be asked around this dad, around the cops, what they knew, who also is this mental health professional, you know, who did not flag this under the Illinois system, because suicide and committing that should have fallen within the provisions. I think it just goes to show you that, you know, even with all these laws on the books, there's still tremendous amounts of screw-ups.
None of it is foolproof.
None of it's
ever.
foolproof.
None
and,
of it.
you know, if people don't do their jobs, and if people like this dad are going to be terrible citizens who are now responsible, at least in part, for 6 people who are lying dead on, you know, on a sidewalk after attending a 4th of July parade, I don't know. It just shows you, it's just a further sign of a societal decline. Even the fact that this freak exists in the first place.
There was a report that the dad had told someone that his son had, quote, emotional issues.
Right. Okay.
I mean, again,
Good.
even
Thank
if you, because listen, I can sort of wrap my head around as a parent, you can't imagine that your kid would be capable of this.
Mm-hmm.
But even if you're just concerned for his own sake, he had tried to commit suicide.
Right.
You're going to help him get a gun?
Yeah, the most common way to commit suicide is a
Is a gun.
So,
exactly. I mean, insane details continuing to come out here, so we'll continue to follow it. Cable news is ripping us apart, dividing the country, making it impossible to function as a society, and making it impossible to know just what is true and what is false. But the good news is they are failing and they know it.
That is why we're building something new, a new mainstream, a healthier one, something more trustworthy, something that we are going to need in one of the most pivotal times in American history. We are building up here for the midterms, for the upcoming presidential election, but we need your help. So if you can help us out by becoming a premium member today at breakingpoints.com, we're trying to change America for the better and the entire world.
So what are you waiting for, guys? Go to breakingpoints.com and sign up and help us build a new mainstream.